has an impact on one person's life.
uwo musore n'umusore umeze
Who was that person?
number one
The number one,
ni umusore wazanye intego
it is a person that comes with a goal
uza kuri yesu
to come to Jesus.
ugafata ku mwenda wa yesu
If you touch the hem of his garment,
ariko ukora intego
but you touch it with a goal,
imbaraga zagabanutse kuri yesu
and the power that comes down from
zari zivuye ku mudamu wamukoranye y'intego
that it came because a woman touched him with a goal.
impinduka zizaba kuri buri muntu wese
And the transformation that will come from it,
zizaba ku ntego wazanye muri iki giterane
it will come from the goal that you bring in this conference.
ujya kuza muri iki giterane
When you came to this conference,
n'icyo wari witekereza
what was in your mind?
niyo ntego yakuzanye
What goal brought you here?
igisubizo azamwemera
That's what Jesus calls us.
babyita ngo ni imbaraga zikurura yesu kristo
It is what I call the power that pulls Jesus.
yesu maze ku buzima bwawe
What power that pulls Jesus to come into your life?
izana yesu ku buzima bwawe
What pulls Jesus into your life?
imbaraga ya mbere izana yesu
The first power that pulls Jesus,
imbaraga yitwa imbaraga yo kwizera
it is the first power is called the power
iyo
of faith.
twaje imbere ya yesu dufite kwizera
When we go before Jesus in faith,
kijya gituma yesu agira reaction ku buzima bwawe
that is when Jesus has a reaction in
abantu benshi bakora kuri yesu
that many people touch Jesus.
bafite kwizera
There is someone that touched him with something that the hands that Jesus can feel
ni amaboko y'ufite kwizera
is the hands that have faith.
ayandi maboko yose ntabwo
Any other hand that Jesus doesn't have. But when the hands of faith touch Jesus,
kwizera kwari mu mugore
the faith that was in that
kwari
woman
mubwiraga ngo
that told her
jewe ndigukoraho
that if I just touch the hand,
ndakira
I will be healed.
yesu arakubaza ukamuze
And Jesus said that there was a hand that has touched me.
cyakabiri
And the second thing,
umugore yari afite intego
that a woman had a goal,
abandi barimo bamugurira nta kibazo
that everyone would look,
baravuga ngo njyewe nagukorera intego
but she said that I will touch him.
iki ni cyo kiza kizana yesu ku buzima bwawe
That is what brings Jesus into your life.
niyo umusore afite intego
When you go with Jesus with the goal,
aho mu giterane gifite intego
when you come to a conference that has a goal,
ibi
this
bizadufasha
will help us
kujyana muri uru rugendo rw'iminsi itatu
to go on this journey of 3 days
niba kumva birimo biratemba mu mutima wawe
to tell you what is coming down in my heart,
kuko ndi kumva umutima wanjye wuzuye
because I feel like my heart is full.
mumufashe kunyakira
So please receive it.
kandi ndabivuga gahoro
And I will say it softly.
ko ndagira impungenge ko ari nijoro ndibuganire mugasinzira
I have worries that I will
ariko
talk at night,
ndagerageza kubivuza gahoro gashoboka
but I'll try to speak it very, very softly.
reka mbere kuri iki ngiki
Let me start with this.
umusore uzabasha kugera kure
That a young man that is able to be successful,
aya mahame abiri nzoyavuga kugeza mfuwe
there's 2 laws that I will stand by until I die.
azana agaciro
And there's 2 things that they value.
ibintu bibiri bikomeye uzaha agaciro nushaka kuba umusore uzanesha isi
That if you want to be a successful man in the
amahame
world,
abiri uzaha agaciro
the 2 values that you will stand
n'ingaruka
on.
nzayasubiramo
When I come back, I will say it again.
ushize narayababwiye
And last time I told you this,
ntizagaruka nzayababwira
and next time I'll tell you again.
ushaka kuba umusore utandukanye n'abandi muri iyi si
If you want to be different in like anyone else in Canada,
kuri ibi bintu bibiri
take 2 things into
number
account.
one
The first thing,
be selective be selective ndakivuga neza
I'll say it right.
number two be different
Witandukanye.
ibi bintu ndabivuga mu magambo meza
I'll say it in
bikana mu yumve neza
good words so that you can all understand.
ushaka kuba umusore uzagera kure
If you want to be a successful young man,
ushaka kuba umusore uzahinduka cyane
if you want to be a man that is
ushaka kuba
transformed,
umusore utazarangazwa n'isi
if you don't want to be distracted with
ukomeye abanziriza ibindi byose bizababwira
that is 2 laws that is better than anything that
amahame abiri
just 2 things.
irya mbere
The first thing,
ni kubaho mu buzima butandukanye n'ubw'abandi
it is to differentiate yourself.
kimwe mu kintu kijya kimara imbaraga
The one thing that ends our power, our abilities, and our young people have no more ability. It is to want to conform like others.
ukenera kugera kure cyane
If you want to be successful,
abirinda ndabikunda nicyo nasanze ndiko murakora
you dance and I saw that that's what it was. And I know that you can sing in it,
ariko isi ishaka kugera kure.
but if you want to be successful,
Be different. Baho ubuzima butandukanye n'ubw'abandi.
live a different life than others.
Ubuzima bugerageza kutaba rusange.
So don't try to live a life that is like others.
Icya kabiri,
The second thing,
learn how to select. Iga guhita, iga kujojora.
learn how to select and have wise choices.
Tuba duhitamo.
What do we select?
Iyo ndimo ndababwira ngo mwige guhitamo muri abasore,
When I tell you to be selective as you,
ndababwira ngo mwige guhitamo abo mugendana nabo.
so it's to be selective of your friends,
Mwige guhitamo ibyo ureba.
selective of what you watch,
Mwige guhitamo ibyo wumva.
selective of what you hear,
Mwige guhitamo.
selective.
Select what you feed your mind.
Se-
Guhitamo ibyo ugaburira ubwonko bwawe.
select what you feed your mind.
Why?
Why?
Iyi si turimo
The world that we live in,
iragenera urubyiruko ifunguro rya minsi yose.
that it gives you a daily bread.
Igitondo n'umugoroba,
Every day and night,
TikTok ibirazana,
the TikTok
WhatsApp
brings,
ibirazana,
WhatsApp brings something else,
ibirazana,
Facebook brings something
Twitter
else,
ibirazana,
and social
YouTube
media,
ibirazana.
and YouTube.
Select what you feed your mind. Yes. Niba ushaka kuzaba umusore,
If you want to be a successful
niba
young
ushaka
man,
kuzaba umukobwa w'icyitegererezo,
if you want to be a successful young woman,
try to be different and try to select what you feed your mind. These two principles bizagufasha muri ubu buzima.
it will help you in this life.
Nubaza amakuru y'abasenze bakabitindamo.
If you ask those people that were praying for, because the two principles that we see,
Abasenze bakabitindamo.
and the people that prayed and dwelled in prayer,
Uyu mugabo ndakunda cyane kuba yafatwa mu rufatiro n'ubu aracyafashe.
and love this man so much.
Nubaza amakuru
When you see people that
bakaba nk'aya masaha barimo basenga.
until now they're still
Ibintu
praying,
bakoze bitandukanye n'iby'abandi.
things that they've done differently,
Icyambere
that
gikomeye
the first thing
gitandukanyije n'abandi.
that they differentiated themselves from others. Why?
Isi irashaka kutubwira uniform.
Because the world wants to make us uniform.
Guys, iyi si
This world
irashaka kutubwira uniform.
wants to make us uniform.
Ikintu kijya kimara imbaga.
The one thing that makes us weak,
Iyo uri umusore ukavuga ngo nanjye nkeneye kumera nk'abandi.
and you say that I want to be like
Iyo uri
others.
umukobwa ukavuga ngo nawe ukeneye kumera nk'abandi.
You're a young lady, you say I want to be like others. But if you want to be successful, you take it,
Vamo
you get out
be different.
and you differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful,
So,
that just be selective of what you feed your mind. Are you understanding? Are you understanding?
ibi bibiri
Those two things.
ndabisubiramo kagatanu.
I'll repeat it like 3 times.
Ndabisubiramo kutose.
I'll repeat it like 3 times. Because
Umunsi umwe Delila yabwiye Samusoni,
that one day Delilah told Samson,
aramubwira ngo ese ni iki nagukorera ngo nawe mbereka.
she asked him, what can you do so that you can?
Ikiza gitumara imbaraga,
Something that makes us weak.
ikiza kitsa urugendo turimo.
So what makes our journeys cut short is to be like others. You want to be like other young ladies. How do you pray? Do you not know what's happening? It is why where other women and men are. So how can you be differentiated?
Be different.
If you continue to be like others, you will never dream to be far. Because in one step that helps us be one step closer to our destination. Would you answer? You say, I still Do you see all successful men and women that pray? Like the way they would dance here and the way they would go, there's and you would think they're going to sleep, and that is where they actually go to pray. Those are the people that are successful. It is the people to come out that know how to go out of their age mates and do something different from what their age mates are doing. And they know how to make time that is valuable, but others say that it is a waste of time. When people are sleeping, what are you doing? When you're doing WhatsApp, what do you do? That's how we are different. Try to be a young man that is different from others. The world wants to make us uniform so that you can be like everyone else. And for you to be like everyone else, and please try to understand it. Your calling is where your power is. Uniqueness, sorry. Uniqueness, that is where your power lies. This word is very powerful. When you no longer unique and you want to be like, because your power, it is kept in your uniqueness. Understand? Do you understand those two things? Forget all things, but remember these two. To be successful,
I have to be different.
I have to
select.
And I have to be selective of what I give my eyes to, and be select what I give my ears to, and select who I want to walk with. And if you select who you walk with, and you select what you watch, and we select what we listen to, it will be a good way on how we will become successful. And it will make us differentiate or be different from others. Let me tell you 3 images of a young man or a young woman. The first image, the first image is a young man. It is the image of his household. It is the image of his family. When I'm young, people don't just see me as a young man or woman. It is the image of the family that he is born from. So when you carry yourself well, it's not speaking to you. It tells me that the family that you come from, it's like this. When you carry yourself well, you're telling them that look at his father and mother. You are the image of your family. You're the image of your family. They don't need to know your father. Don't just think that it stops at just who you are. But you are representing. You're telling people that this is my dad, this is my mom. Well, who you need papa? This is my dad, this is my mom. Number 2. Number 2, that a young person is the image of the church that they fellowship in. When we go outside into the world and they say, who are those girls? And they say, oh, those are the girls from Release. And it's above now that
bigeze kuba abakobwa bo mu itorero runaka
they're no longer just their family's image, but now
niba abahungu kuri nirizi babitwara
they
kuriya
say that this is the release kids.
niba abakobwa bo kuri nirizi babitwara kuriya
Girls in release that are doing
iyo turi abasore
when we're young,
tuba turimo turapurezentinga imaje y'urusengero
we're representing the image of the church.
cyangwa
The third thing,
umusore
a young man or woman,
ishusho yafitiye
it is the image of their future.
ibi bintu muri kurabyandika
Are you writing this down?
yego
Yes. Man, woman,
ntabwo nkeneye kumenya ngo ejo hawe hameze gute
you need to know what your tomorrow looks like.
fitire yawe ukeneye kuyimbwira
You don't need to tell me what your tomorrow looks like.
ibyo ukora kuri none
What you're doing today,
birimo birambwira ngo ejo hawe hazaba hameze gute
it's telling me what your tomorrow is going to look like.
child is not the accident ejo wacu hazaza ntabwo ari impanuka izatuma
Our future is not an accident.
imyitwarire yacu y'uko turimo tuyitwara no
With the way we carry ourselves now,
ni ishusho yabo tuzabaho ejo
it is our image of who we will become tomorrow.
asaba kugira ngo tubwire abantu ngo my future will be bright ejo hanjye hazaza hari igitangaza
I don't have to tell other people that my future will be so bright. That's how I carry myself today. It tells me that my tomorrow is going to be good or bad.
imyitwarire yanjye yani
How I carry myself now.
umusore
Young man,
ishusho y'umuryango we
it is the image of your family,
cya kabiri ishusho y'itorero
it
rye
is the image of the church.
cya gatatu ni imaje ya fitire
And the third and final one is the image of your future.
iyo tuvuga fitire
When we speak about the future,
tujya twishyira mu mana
we put it in God
tugahumiriza tukavuga ngo imana niyo ibizi
and you say only God knows.
hari ibintu imana yaduhaye
There's things that the Lord has given us
muzakoreka
that if we do not use it, the Lord will let us die and perish.
yaduhaye gikomeye
That's something that the Lord has given us so great
imana yaduhaye ubwenge
that the Lord gave us wisdom.
tugakoresheje ubwenge
So if we do not use our minds, we turn into fools. And in that foolish,
imana ikabutuziza duhinduka injiji
and then now God is and then now you're dying as an ignorant man.
ibi ndimo ndabibabwira ngo mwumve icyo tugiye kuganira none
I'm telling you this so you can understand what we're going
umusore w'icyitegererezo
that a young man that is
mu isi yandi
in a world that is
mu
dirty,
isi y'iterambere
in a world that is modernized.
tugiye kureba noneho uyu musore
So we're going to see this youth.
ndababwira ibintu nk'uko cyane byitwa amahame
I'm going to talk to you about principles that I spoke of,
biragaragaza kubikura mu ijambo ry'imana
and I'll try to connect it to the Word of God. When Paul wrote to the Romans,
amagambo
and he spoke these words,
arababwira ngo nuko bene data ndabiginga kubw'imbabazi z'imana
and he said, I plead with you, brothers and sisters,
ndabiginga ngo mutange imibiri yanyu
to give your bodies
imibiri yanyu muyihereze kristo
to God.
verse ya mbere ndayikuramo amagambo ane
In the first verse, I take away 4
kandi
things,
verse ya kabiri nayo ndayikuramo amagambo ane
and the second verse, I'll take away 4
kugira ngo twubake urufatiro rw'aya magambo yose
so that we can build a foundation on
muri cyane
the first thing.
bibiliya yavuze ngo give your body to Christ
It says, give your body to you.
ngiki cya mbere gikomeye
The first thing above all else,
ushaka kuba umusore uzahinduka icyitegererezo muri iyi si
that if you want to be an example in this,
mbere ntibaziriza ayandi mahanga
that the first principle that is above all else,
umubiri wawe ukawuhereza kristo
it is to give your body to Christ.
cyangwa cyose
That the first thing above all else
ni ugufata ubuzima bwawe
is to take your life
ukawuhereza kristo
and give it to Christ. Blended with his brothers and sisters, to give your bodies to God.
ngabandi zitandukanye n'ibyo basanzwe babaho
I'm going to tell you the difference of what they
so
let me give my body to God or Christ.
iyo turimo turashira tukava ibyuya
When we dance and we sweat,
ntabwo ari ikimenyetso ko twahaye ubuzima bwacu kristo
it is not a sign that we've given our bodies to Christ.
iki si ikimenyetso ko ubuzima bwanjye nabuhaye kristo
This is not a sign that I've given my body to Christ. And you think that you dance and you feel like you've broken all the chains.
icyo bita guhereza kristo
But I'm going to tell you what it means to give your bodies to Christ. Say amen.
Somebody
Take your life and you give it to Christ. That Christ does not take a life that is alive. That Christ receives a life that is dead. There's no one that is alive. That he does not receive it alive. That he makes us alive because we give ourselves as a sacrifice. I'm going to say it 3 times. He said, I plead with you, brothers and sisters, that you give your bodies to God. How are we going to give our bodies and hands? What does the Bible tell us? It says, give your body to Christ as a living sacrifice. When the Bible's telling us to give our lives as a living sacrifice, because a sacrifice has to first die. Number 1. The first thing, it is your decision to give Christ your life. And say, Christ, I'm giving you my life. Giving you my life. It is not just dancing for him. It is not to sing for him. I want you to understand each one. And then ask yourselves, what type of person is the Lord use? And sometimes we dream and we say, Lord, use me. And you all have dreams that one day Jesus will use you as a tool. Look at the principles of God. Look at the principles of God. I grew up and saying that, Lord, there's nothing that I can give. There's nothing that I can give to you. And then the Holy Spirit told me, say, is there an offering that there's missing from God? And then one day, I discovered what they call, what is offering yourself to God? Is to give yourself to God truth. That is the only offering you can offer God. And say that this is a man who is offering himself to me. And I've offered him what I have done for him. And took his whole life and gave it to Christ. And say this woman has offered. That is a sacrifice or an offering on your own offerings. It is when God sees that you've taken your life. What I love about God of life. God has a He doesn't take part of life. No. That Jesus, what he that he receives a man that is given him life. And that Jesus that didn't give himself just a little bit, and gave himself wholly. And that is how I will give myself to him. And he said, truly, that I see a woman that has offered herself to me, and she has offered herself to me. And that she has took her whole life and threw it into Christ. That she has offered herself to me. If you want to be someone that is successful in shopping, look at what you can do. It is to take your life and wrap it around and throw it into Christ. That is a great principle. And he said that I plead with you that to take your body, that take your life, and give it to God. And once you give it to him, don't give it to him alive. Give it to him as a sacrifice. And giving a life as a sacrifice you guys hear me? You all lift up your hands.
Hallelujah.
Give your life, to give your body, and give it as a sacrifice. That what was given as a sacrifice, it is a life that was given for us. That it is not a life that is alive. What I like about a living sacrifice, what they call a living sacrifice, it is a sacrifice that speaks while you sacrifice it. A living sacrifice, it speaks to the person that is sacrificing. That give your bodies and give it as a living sacrifice. And a living sacrifice, if you tell it kneel down and your body hurts. And the body tells you that you're hurting and say that even though you are hurt, I'm doing it. Tell it you have to fast and say I'm hungry. But because it is say that I am hungry. But you tell it I will say do it because it is a living sacrifice. Do you understand? That gives your body as a living sacrifice. That when you tell it, it will respond and you will say that you will do it. The principles that makes people be able to defeat the flesh. And what makes someone able to defeat the flesh, it is that you first make the flesh your slave. But if your flesh is not a slave to you, if your flesh is not your slave, when you speak, it submits to the master. That's when you're able to defeat the flesh. And then when you transform your body into a slave, and you tell them, you say, I will fast, and it was commanded to what you said, because you made it a slave. But if your flesh is not a slave, and if you tell that you will fast, and it will say no. And you will say kneel down 30 minutes, and it will say no. And you try. Say, and he said, but for you to defeat the flesh, it is to first turn it into your slave. And then you truly transform it into a slave. And whatever you command, and it will just accept everything. And it will accept every and it will say yes to every command. Give your bodies as a sacrifice. And a living sacrifice. And you think, and when it speaks to you, say, no, I'm sacrificing. When you give Christ your life, that you have that there's no when I tell you there's no listen to what I'm about to say. It is to keep and you keep even though other young men and women do it, but you put your grinder teeth together and say that I'm do you listen that I'm speaking to you flesh? That all the things that the other girls like and say I'm not doing it even though the flesh desires. And he said I'm sacrificing it. Then give your body a sacrifice. And not a sacrifice that says that it is pleasing. It says that it feels good. But I'm going to give it. Why? Do you want to lift your hands up
Amen.
And say, just with this is the secret. I'm going to tell you the secrets. Take your bodies and give it to Christ. It's to be success. It is not to cheat. It is not to sin. No. It's to keep yourself. It's to keep yourself.
The desire of this flesh, the ambition of this flesh. Ukazigira ngo this ambition shouldn't to have. My desire shouldn't to have.
Is to put your desires aside and your ambitions aside, but do what His will desires. It is not sweat.
No surrendering my desire.
It's to surrender all your desires. It's to surrender it to God.
Surrendering my mind to God. No surrendering what you desire.
That everything that you used to desire, that those ambitions that you had, you take it all, surrender to God.
I give all to you, God.
But you take your life, but while we dance like this, and think that it is all working out. It's not, it hasn't worked out yet. What? First thing is to give your body to Christ. And the second thing, and give your life as a living sacrifice. And the third thing,
for all He has done for you.
in the English Bible, it says, it says, for all that He has done. And the first verse it says the fourth thing. The fourth thing is, and that is what true worship is.
Amafesi ya mbere irangirira y'Abaroma 12 bitandukanye n'uko muri iki cyacu uko bivuga. Mwumve muri Bibiliya yindi uko Bibiliya ivuga. Bibiliya isangiza ngo worship.
It says this is truly the way to worship Him. This is, we think that this is the true way to worship. When we think, you see that it is worked out way of worship. This is truly the way of worship. Are we together? So take your life and give it to Christ. And then once you give it to Him, give it as a living sacrifice. And the reason why, it is because of what He has done. And this is truly the way to worship God. When they know how to truly worship, they don't dance. No. They take their lives, they throw it into Christ.
This is the true way of worship.
And Jesus says that this is truly the way to worship God. Let me repeat it 3 times. I'm not saying that it is wrong for us to dance. I love it. And I love it with my kids. And I love it with women. And I love it with pastors. He says, I say there's many reasons why I like it. That is what I was born into. And I was born in the fellowship. And if you guys all leave, I love it more than everyone. That I was born in fellowship. I love it so much. Let's lift up our hand. I love it so much. But what the Bible says is truly worshiping. That it is I that is dancing, but the dancing is not in front of me. That the dancing comes behind me. That the Lord is not pleased by dancing. That He's first pleased by the one who dances, and then you will be pleased by the dancing. Please repeat it. There's times when we think that what we bring before God is the dance. If the Lord sees that I dance, He'll see that it is working. No, but the dancing is behind me. That it is I that the Lord sees, and see that I have given myself to God. And He says, "Bring the dancing to me, and I receive it." But the first thing that the Lord sees when you give it to Him, it is to first give your life. I don't know what you brought in front. What did you bring in front? What is first? Is it first dancing or is it first your life? Speak with your heart. I thank you, dear friend, dear brother and sister. That is how he pleaded with his brothers and sisters. He said, "First, please give your bodies as a sacrifice. Give it as a living sacrifice. Give it because of what the Lord has done." And then he said that once you give your body, that is truly the way you worship. Don't think when the dances before you. So the way you dance, you dance because your life has been transformed in Jesus. What part of your life does Jesus have? I'm telling you about the first verse. That's how it starts saying. At first, stop dancing. Let me tell you. The world doesn't need to see what we do. It wants to see who we are. Because us as believers, we are weak. And then we want to show the world what we speak. And the world does not want to hear it. But the world wants to see who you become. We want to speak. But God, the world wants to see who you've become, what you've transformed into. The Bible commands us to be that you have to be before you do. Yes, good. Are we showing the world or are we telling the world? Yeah. It's so cool. That my friends, my sisters, my that's leading with you to take your bodies. Let me tell you this. To be saved is for your benefit. Strawberries. To be saved is for your benefit. If you think that you're doing someone else a benefit, you're lying to yourself. Who is your best friend? Who is your best friend? He's my best friend. And if I ask a doctor here, he'll say, "This is my best friend," or "This is my best friend." Who is your best friend? Who is it? Who is your enemy? Who is it? So there's two people that are in your life, your friends or your enemy.
The great enemy of your life, it's you. The great friend of your life, it's you.
The first ingredient is yourself, and your best enemy is yourself. Sometimes we tell you things that you think that is for our benefit. That your bad it is your repercussions of your life. When you have bad that even though your parents trying to tell you do good, you think you're doing wrong to your parents, but really it is for your own good. Why? Do you don't think that someone will do that to you? When I tell you to give your life to Christ, don't think that there's someone else that is going to give it to you. If you think that you're going to do something that someone else will never do for you, you're becoming an enemy to yourself. I tell the young and the old. I tell the young and the old. And when I tell you to pray and you don't, who are you trying? Who are you going against? And say who you're gonna put your fingers together and say, who are you going against? Who, if you don't do it for yourself, with someone else who did. But whatever you do in your young age, it is an investment. And tomorrow you'll find it here. Are you all understanding? Everything that you do in your young age, you reap what you sow. Whatever you do, you're investing. And your tomorrow, to first celebrate, or you're gonna ask them to regret. What you do today, whatever you do today. You guys understand? I'm doing this and this. I'm not gonna get up now. Well, I get that no one will invest for you. Because you're investing. Today you're investing. That all of the hard work that you do today, it is an investment. But your tomorrow, you will tell others, celebrate with me, or regret. This is what I know. I'm going to tell you about the 6 months. Let me stop. Let's go on the second part. Let's go on the second part. Let's sing 2 hallelujahs. Hallelujah. Let us speak on the second verse. It says, don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world. Don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world. I read this Bible and I don't think that it says it well enough. Listen to what this Bible says. Don't copy. It says, do not copy. You understand?
ntimukemere gukopera
And feel like I read the NLT.
ntimukemere gukopera
It says
ntimukemere imyitwarire y'isi
it says don't copy.
ntimukemere
Do not copy.
do not copy
It says do not copy the behaviors and customs of this world.
usanga dusanga abasore ukamubaza pastor who is your role model
They would call you
niba muntu w'icyitegererezo muri ubuzima bwawe
as your role model.
turazira
Females.
wambara nka
You dress like
usokoza nkani
Uri.
wicoze nk'ibyande
oops.
don't copy
It says do not
is
copy.
this the Bible sesingemanyiko kandi tusosirinde akazaki nesha ukaba guys, don't go.
And when I
This
see
is this one.
it says do not copy.
Timukigane,
It says do
timukatonge, timutarebe,
not
timutarebe.
don't look as your them as your example.
Ngihame ngakathatha. Isafosha ubuzima bw'umusore.
This is a
Ngacane,
it is to
ngacane.
guard, protect, to guard yourself from trying to copy
Ivyo.
that.
Yaremanye.
It diminishes your power.
Ikintu cyose umuntu akora cyiza.
Everything that someone does that is good,
Ukuri.
that there is something that goes, there's a spirit behind it.
Mubyihanganire. Ikintu cyose ab'isi bakora.
And everything that people of the world do, that there is a spirit.
Reba.
When we look and see someone on Facebook, did you when he did that, you know the spirit that was behind it.
Mwabuze aho mwigana bari muri Bibiliya n'abatubanyi bakubanjirije kugira ngo isabe icyitegererezo.
And did you not want to copy people from the Bible or your people that were your ancestors and you tried to go back to people from the world?
Nigute mujya kurota nigute mugira inzozi zo kuzaba abakinnyi bakomeye mukajya kwitoreza muri basket.
And how do you dream to be a basketball player?
Nigute murota musaba abasore bakomeye ariko imyitozo mukayikora muri basket.
How can you be a basketball player? How can you How can you go and try to be like if you see if there's and you give them a microphone
why this pastor
why do you not dream to be like your pastors and you go and take other people as your role models?
It's a heart.
Why does the word to say it is more focused to walk and talk and to see
why
I've been fighting with my parents. They keep fighting about their kids. I don't care about dreads. If you want dreads all the way down to your back, I don't care. But just make if you have dreads on your head and your father doesn't like it, then you're not following the Lord commandments. Dreads. If you in any which way, it does not matter. But there's a place where it says, honor your father and mother. But how dreads? But did your it says honor your mother and father so you may have longevity of life.
It's okay. I don't care about it. They would have a chance. You just get out of the I don't care.
The Bible, if you're trying to parents allow you to have your own, but be careful if you're saved in your heart that honor your mother and father. Live together. That part of it.
Sometimes I get
Because sometimes we do because we are copying the behavior in Christ. But I think that it is copying. If it's just regular life, fine, let's continue like that. If your parents accept you to be the way you are, then there's no problem. I'll come back to it in the slide and I'll tell you. If you want to be a good person, the first thing you will do once you finish obeying God, the second thing, you will obey your parents. If you want to be successful, young man, after obeying and go back and obey your parents. And whenever you see your parents say, father or mother, bless me. Even though your father may be a drunk, and say, Dad, can you give me your blessing? That the word that the parents say, that the Lord we're together. I'm telling you. It says, do not copy.
Different. Because I want to be different. I have to select the behavior and customs of this one. Go.
I do not want to be in conform to the world because I want to be sensitive that we are allowed to do whatever. But it is not because everything has a meaning or is substantial to us. Let me tell you the sixth thing.